Welcome to Only Football Week 7 edition. We had a really good week of football, and somebody's really happy on the other end. Why are you so happy right now, Rick?
Because the Bears fucking beat the Patriots, baby. That's why. A fucking
Bears
hell of a Monday night.
just beat the living dog shit out of the
Dog shit.
Patriots. I
Dog
mean,
shit.
it's one thing, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but it's one
Yeah.
thing to get your ass handed you by a team. I think this is the first time the Bears have scored more than like 25 points this season. Does that sound right?
Dude, I was surprised they got past 10. And probably yes, you're probably right. I think the Bears, this is the first time the Bears have scored more than 20 points. I'm going to check their schedule right now. I don't want to make this all about the Bears, but I mean that was just an amazing win. Yep, 20 points against the Texans, 22 against the Vikings, 33 today. I mean that they've never scored more than 22 this season. They scored 33 tonight, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Defensively, they looked good. They were flying around to the ball. I thought offensively, I mean, we'll get into this game when we get down the list.
Yep.
There was some really good Thursday night football. If you were watching the game and then you happened to take a bathroom break and turn it back on and it was a blowout, you might have missed two pick sixes.
Yep.
I thought that we went in talking about if DeAndre Hopkins could provide a spark to that offense. I think he did with 10 catches. But at the same time, the scoreboard's a little misleading with that 14 defensive points. But I think this is a good step in the right direction for a Cardinals team that looked a little shaky. They looked like they didn't have an identity. DeAndre Hopkins came back, and I feel confident going with the Cardinals on some of these bets or picks in the future dates after that game. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. DeAndre Hopkins definitely like had a spark in the game, right? Like I was watching most of that game, and I had fucking, oh my god, the running back. He scored 23 points, and of course I had him on my bench. Eno Benjamin. Of course I had him on my bench too. Like, come on.
Yeah, I started him in my other league.
You lucky bastard. We'll get into fantasy talk later, but I just needed to mention that. I like the steps. I mean, obviously the Cardinals won, right? I forget the score exactly.
It was 42 to 34.
42-34. Again, look, and we talked about the Saints, that they score a lot of points. Somehow Andy Dalton is making up points. He couldn't do that last year with the Bears. Not that I'm salty, but yeah, the Cardinals definitely have taken steps in the right direction. And just the fact that DeAndre Hopkins came back and added that almost security blanket to Kyler, it's great. It's going to be great for him. And it's, moving forward, I think this is really where this game kind of is going to take the Cardinals over that hump that they always seem to struggle in halfway through the season. Were you saying the same thing, or were you kind of saying the opposite?
No, I was saying the same thing, where it seems like a big part of their identity has come back with DeAndre Hopkins. And I think if you score 42 points, that's not for nothing. Even if he had two defensive turnovers, like they were obviously moving the ball and running the ball and having, and I know the Saints aren't a defense to write home about, but at the end of the day, this game looked a lot closer than it actually was. I think at one point, you could see New Orleans scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. So going in to the fourth quarter, it didn't look as close as it ended up being. But I thought a big story of that game was the altercation DeAndre Hopkins had. I think it was a third down. He was backed up. I think he was on his 10 or 7 yard line. Called a timeout, walked over to Kingsbury and said something along the lines is like, I'm not running that fucking play or something. I mean, he looked really fired up. I think he was talking about the new Call of Duty coming out and how he doesn't want it to go into overtime. He's like,
but we're winning this fucking game, all right? I've got double XP weekend coming up. We're not going into fucking overtime.
And then, dude, my dumbass is on Twitter, and because that's where I love to be on Sundays now. And I'm watching this comment of this guy who goes, "Oh, Kyler's going to get canceled once people read his lips and find out what he's saying." So I'm watching the video like 20 times, trying
And
to
it's
figure out what
nothing.
he's saying, and I couldn't figure anything. I'm like, no one knows what he was saying. Like, it was so many like times I watched it just trying to pick something up. But I'm gonna ask because it's a fun question, but it also is a serious thing. So we're gonna talk about it here. What
Mhm,
do you think Kyler is
mhm.
saying?
I honestly, I looked at the video a couple times. I couldn't really pinpoint what he was saying. Um, but it just seemed like he was like angry towards Kingsbury or Kings,
Yeah,
whatever the fuck his name is.
Cliffsbury.
Um, Cliff's Kingsbury. King
we don't do
Cliffsbury.
names. We don't do
We
names.
don't do fucking names here. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's more of a like he's got an issue with the play calling and I it didn't really I don't really get it. And this is kind of I feel like one of the reasons that Cliff wanted him to call plays in the preseason to see, hey man, it's not that fucking easy to just gen up a great offense, you know?
Yeah,
So I don't know exactly, but I do think that that's just a bad showing, especially on a nationally televised game. You don't do that. You can do that in on Sunday in the morning. You can probably get away with that. I mean, you'll get coverage, but you won't get Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night coverage. You know, you
yeah.
won't get it like that. So I think it's just a bad look on Kyler, and it just makes him look kind of like a douchebag. And he already looks like a child playing football out there. So I mean, this is just not a good look for him.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
throwing a
like it
tantrum.
personally. Yeah, I don't like it personally, but I mean again, that's just me.
It reminds me of this scene in Wedding Crashers, but he's like, "Look at her. She looks like a kid in Toys R Us. I can't be around her." And she's over there stomping on the ground because she wants him to come on their boat back home with him because she loves Vince
Yeah,
Vaughn. He
with
just
her,
took her virginity.
with her fingers in her
Yeah,
ears.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like
I'm
no, I
gonna.
love her.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something a little bit different that I think this says more about Cliffsbury or whatever we decided to call him today. I think it says more about him because if you think
Okay,
about like Bill Belichick, you wouldn't ever see that. You wouldn't see that with a Mike
no,
Tomlin team. You wouldn't see that. So what's going on where players feel comfortable enough to address their head coach in that? Like old school,
yeah,
like Tony Dungy, like real good actual coaches wouldn't get away with that. And last year, the Cardinals were winning a lot of games. So we were actually talking about, man, he just seems like he's doing a really good job.
mhm,
I've been looking, and it's not as much me looking as how much the media has been talking about it lately, because when you
mhm,
lose, you get talked about a lot. He
yeah,
couldn't win, anything major. He had Patrick Mahomes in college. And I'm just saying, look at Patrick Mahomes with Andy Reid. So I think that he may not be as good as we thought, just because when you're winning, you may seem better than you are, but when you're losing, you may seem worse than you are.
mhm,
I think he might have hit his peak as a coach, and we kind of are at this place now where we know what he is, and
okay,
maybe the Cardinals were just playing, better football. But seeing Kyler talk to him like that kind of told
mhm,
me everything I need to know about these players and the like. You just can't do that, man. Like, it's almost like if
no,
you see a kid like calling his mom a bitch at the grocery store, it's like nobody's like mad at the kid, everyone's looking at the
yeah,
parents like,
yeah.
wow, what kind of household are you running? Like, so I don't know, that's how I felt about it. I thought, man, whatever's going on in Arizona, it doesn't seem very good, but at least they got DeAndre Hopkins back.
Yep.
That's the bright side.
And you never know, right? Like again, it really just might speak more to King's Bliff Blary's coaching style. But you know, we'll see what happens going forward. Next game up, Thursday night football. We went over Thursday night football. Sorry, next game up, Browns at Ravens. Ravens come up with a very mediocre win, I want to say. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to call it unimpressive. I mean, they beat them 23-20.
I hear
And they
you
were
though.
at home. But you know what is so you kind of like see what I'm saying, right? Like we had this game Ravens and we kind of were just like, yeah, they're going to blow them out of the water, right? Cuz the Browns have just been shit
The Ravens
recently.
played awful in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they got 94 total passing yards. They only had 256
Oh my
total yards.
god.
They had 160 yards rushing, which is good. So they were able to run the football.
Mhm.
But the way I saw this game was that it was going to get blown wide open, and the Ravens would probably put on a show at home because they just lost to the Giants last week. So I thought
Yeah.
that this would be a really good opportunity for them to take advantage of a 2-4 team, now 2-5, coming into their home. But they kind of fought. They fought with them. It was first quarter, Cleveland was winning 10-3. And then it went to
Mhm.
halftime and it was 13-10. And it was no team like pulled away. They just kind of fought back and forth. And um, the Ravens able to get out of there with a 3-point win, but it's just, is it, just like we've been talking about, is this just every team is tough? Every win is going to be fought that hard with? I'm not buying that just
Mhm.
because Cleveland doesn't really have a quarterback. They're not
Yeah.
in a position where, like, if it was, I don't know, like San Francisco or Minnesota or even the Giants, it's just we're there. And now when you start getting to 2-5 and 1-6, you do start seeing that, okay, even though these teams fight hard, if you're going to be a team that goes to the AFC Championship, which the Ravens could potentially be that, then you
Mhm.
have to be able to handle the Texans and the Lions, and even the Broncos are on the list right now, or even the
Mhm.
Bears, who have 3 wins now. But it's
Yep.
not as there's not like this margin for I guess not knowing what teams really are anymore, because we're about at the halfway mark and we
Mhm.
know, hey, 5 other teams had no problem handing Houston an ass whooping. Why couldn't the Ravens do it at home? So I totally understand what you're saying about that game being not what we talked about it being. We both picked the Ravens and we both get the dub, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's a little under anticlimactic,
It was a
if you
sad
will.
dub.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And and God, I had a thought and I lost it, but I guess I just have to agree with you. You kind of have to, like, it is almost to the halfway point. We kind of know what a lot of these teams are. Again, unless the Browns are running the ball on you, like effectively, you can really just play them to that and expect Jacoby Brissett to be a game manager. And without the lead, you can't really manage a game. So it is what it is with that game. Again, we get the dub on that, but Ravens get a dub, by the
Yeah.
skin of their teeth, to be honest. So
And I don't think any team, as far as taking care of teams that you're supposed to, I don't think that there was a more disappointing
mhm.
matchup in that same light than our next game. I still don't know what to say about this game.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is it is mind blowing. I have DJ Moore on my sideline. We're talking about the Tampa
Mhm.
Bay and the Carolina Panthers game, and the Panthers almost shut out Tom Brady. And it's the quarterback curse. We're not going to talk about fantasy, but I just want to say this was the week that Tom
Oh
Brady got
no.
cut, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna have a big bounce back game." He's playing
Well,
the Carolina Panthers, so I start him, and he
yeah.
almost gets shut out, dude. The curse is real. The quarterback curse is real.
I don't know what to say about that. The fact that you picked up, and we're gonna get to a game later where I picked up a quarterback because Josh Allen had a bye, and I was like, oh, this has got to be a cert 15, 20 points, right? But anyway, dude, you have the worst luck with quarterbacks, and I mean, I I don't know what happened to Brady and this Bucks team against a depleted Panthers team. They lost CMC before the start of before the end of Thursday night football, I think.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, they still have DJ Moore. They still got a couple of their defensive guys who are really young and good. But I mean, they lost their head coach. Baker Mayfield is trash. They got PJ Walker in. Like, this is a team that you should, again, when we were talking about the Browns and the Ravens, this is a team that you should be able to go in there, even if they are at home, and literally stomp on them with Mike Evans, with Tom Brady, with the defense that the Bucks have. Like, you should be able to go in there and I almost want to say embarrass them. It should be a reverse score, is what it should
yeah,
be. It should be the Bucks with 21 points and the Panthers with 3. But PJ Walker and I forget they got rid of CMC and I forget who their running back was, but I
Oh,
mean they put up
Hubbard.
a fight. Hubbard, yeah, they put up a fight, and it almost seems to me like, hey, we're kind of just fighting for our jobs right now, and we might get picked up by a team for next season because the Carolina Panthers are just racking up picks by getting rid of CMC and getting rid of Robbie Anderson. But you got to
Yeah.
credit the Carolina Panthers. With all that shit that's gone down, they still came out with a dub against a Super Bowl team from 2 years ago.
Yeah, and also you got to also realize they were able to put on the ground game 173 yards. Well, what I
Yeah.
didn't understand was that Tampa, they had 276 passing yards and only 3 points, which tells me they must have gone for it a lot because they found themselves down 14-0 going into the fourth quarter. So they must have been moving the ball and just not converting on fourth down. I'm going to see if I can pull up here
Yeah.
their fourth down conversions, like how many attempts, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me because it looked like when I see Mike Evans had 17 points and Tom Brady didn't throw a touchdown, but he still got what was it, like 14 points or something. So I was like,
Mhm.
it was not satisfying, but it was still like it wasn't shutout territory because we've seen
Yeah.
quarterbacks
Yeah.
get like 2 points, 1 point, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
And you saw that
uh
Mike Evans dropped that, like, sure touchdown too. That had to be
yeah.
heartbreaking for him.
Yeah. And I had benched him. So whatever, we're not going to get too deep into fantasy, but I
Oh, it's
I
so
went with
good.
Kenneth Walker over him and it did not disappoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Carolina beating up on Tampa Bay, it's really confusing because I went into this game thinking Carolina was the worst team in the NFL. I was sure about
Mhm.
it. They got rid of CMC. I was even more
Mhm.
confident. And then they beat Tampa. I don't know what's going on. If the divorce is really getting into Tom Brady. I know for having a
Mhm.
divorce in my life that your life is very hard to continue your life when you're going through that. It's like your whole life pauses, but the matter of fact is,
I mean,
the
true. Yeah.
season does not pause. The season will not pause for Tom Brady. I just think this is so uncharacteristic. We've never seen a Tom Brady like this, and we've never seen an Aaron Rodgers like this. It's almost like we're
Mhm.
seeing the shift, but before our eyes, we're seeing Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers kind of go into this tier 2 category, and
Yeah.
Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are kind of like the new Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. That's really what it feels like.
I was gonna say the same thing, man. Like it's we kind of knew it was gonna happen, but these last couple of years, you're like, there's no way. Like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have a few more years in them, and now the spiral down, and especially after Aaron Rodgers got a brand new contract, right? Like the spiral down is looking rough. It is looking rough for them. But um, again, credit to Carolina Panthers, and speaking of quarterbacks that are on the rise, this next game, the Falcons at the Bengals. Holy shit. Joey Burr, 480 yards, four
Yeah.
total touchdowns. This guy, we want to talk about a Mahomes and Allen with a performance like this. This is if he can, if he gets anywhere close for these next few games, we're going to start talking about Joey Burr. Obviously, he went to the Super Bowl last year, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't like the most impressive season. It wasn't a Allen-esque, it wasn't a Mahomes-esque type of season, but it was still an impressive one. But holy shit, dude, 480 plus yards and four total touchdowns. The Bengals got this win like just easily, right? Like it was a convincing win, 35-17 against a very frisky, exciting Falcons team. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got to say. Joey Burr, Jamar Chase, they are the truth in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is really lucky to have both of these guys on their team right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I went with Atlanta, so that showed you the faith I had in them.
Yeah, you did.
But look, I mean, you can't blame me. Atlanta has been playing really good,
Mhm.
and they still had 100 yards on the ground. And it's like Tyler Boyd. They have the best 3 wide receiver group or wide receivers in the NFL with
Yeah,
Higgins and what's his name, Jamar Chase
Jamar
and
Chase.
Tyler
Yep.
Boyd.
Mhm.
And it's like, if you had Tyler Boyd on your bench, it's like, dude, everybody did. Nobody knew that this was going to be the game.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I hate when that happens. That's like me with Eno, whatever his name is from Arizona,
yeah. So I
Eno
mean,
Benjamin.
this was one of. I think this says less about like Atlanta. I mean, obviously their pass defense. You give up 537 total yards and 460 in the air. There's
Mhm.
going to be some questions, but maybe the Bengals just had a day, man. I mean, Atlanta's identity is to run the football, and they still had
Yeah.
over 100 yards rushing.
Hmm.
So I don't think for Atlanta, this is like, let's go back to the drawing board. This is like, hey, our defense needs to step up because from a guy that has a team that can't score more than 9 points, 17 points is enough to win a game if your defense is playing at a high level.
Yeah, and that's kind of been I think part of the like give and take with the Falcons is like the defense isn't great. I think they've
Yeah.
given up more than like 17 points this entire season. I'll have to double check myself. Well, you know, as a podcast who doesn't do names, we also don't do facts here. But you know
It
what I
sounds
mean? Like
right,
the
though.
defense,
It sounds right.
it totally sounds right.
Oh, I can tell you right
The
now, actually, how many points they've given up this year.
average. Yeah, let's go.
They've given up. This is defensive rank. They've given up 136 points on week 7, which is ranked
Mhm.
21st. So, not
You
terrible,
said
but
100
right 136.
divided by 7. That's 19 points. I was right. Let's go.
Nice. That's what
That's 19 points.
that's my podcast host right there.
Let's go. I win. But again, that's part of the give and take, right? And I feel like in the NFL nowadays, you kind of have to give up a lot of on the defensive side to gain that offensive edge. And I mean, today they just didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like they went up against a pretty solid Bengals defense, and it showed. They scored double the points they did, and they ended up with the win. And I mean, that's that. So when you go up against Joe Burrow and he's going to throw for 480 yards in a game, there's really any defense would really struggle to kind of win that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally agree. Good on the Bengals. I do think the Bengals are a team that will be in the playoffs. I'm not really like worried about them being 4-3. I think
Mhm.
they're just gonna find a way to figure it out with Joe Burrow and that offense and those wide receivers. So that's what this
Yep.
game did for me.
Yeah,
The-
it did give me more like confidence in that. And this is just me going back to my preseason prediction of like the Bengals not being first. I just want the Bengals to be bad, but they can't. They're just not bad. They're really, really good. You said
yeah,
it. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Higgins, Boyd. Like you can't go wrong with this offense. So I want
yeah,
them to be bad. I want them to lose. I want Pittsburgh to win, which we'll get into later. But I mean, it's just not going to happen. So one team that probably is never going to win another game for the rest of the season, the Lions. They visited Dallas, went up against the Cowboys, and got absolutely rocked. 24-6. Dallas wins. You took the Lions in this game. I took the Cowboys. I take the dub, and so does Dallas. Dude, I don't know what happened to Jared Goff. What happened to Jared Goff in this offense? All of a sudden, like they went on a
ever.
bye, I think, and then they got demolished by one team. I forgot what it was. And they just since then it's just been a fucking downhill spiral.
Yeah, they got beat up on by the Seahawks, and then
Mm-hmm.
that was the week that I started Jared Goff on my fantasy team, and ever since then,
Yes.
he's been like really bad.
Mm-hmm.
um, I
Seahawks have that spoiling magic, I guess. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I should just whoever the Bears are playing next week, I should just get their quarterback so the Bears win. Like I thought that the Lions, I mean, being the hard knock team that they were, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like we were watching this and man, there was so much juice around the Lions. And then
There
they
was.
go out and they almost beat Philly. They lose by 3. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next week, I think they won. And
Mm-hmm.
then on week 3, I think they went toe to toe with Minnesota and they should have won. They had like a 14-point lead late in the third.
Yep.
And it's just like, I mean, even your friend that we had on, he's a Lions fan, right?
Alex, yeah.
Yeah, Alex. If you would have told me that at the halfway mark, the Lions are going to be 1-5, I would have said, what happened? I would have
Mm-hmm.
said, what happened? What fell apart? Something
Mm-hmm.
seriously went wrong for the Lions to be 1-5 right now. They didn't look 1-5. They didn't look like a 1-5 team.
Nope.
They were exciting, and I'm curious to know what fell apart. And I'm not close enough to know, but I do know something fell apart.
Yeah, and we honestly like it. I think it would be a good idea to get Alex back on to explain what's going on. So maybe we might have him on either later this week or for next week's recap. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, and I said it. I said it a couple weeks ago. I forget exactly when I said it, but this whole this Dan fucking why can't I think of his name now?
Campbell.
Dan
Campbell.
Campbell.
The chalk.
It was so bad. The chalk, dude. It's like it's still on the pants. And soon, if I think I called it when I said it that Dan Campbell might get fired at the end of the season. Honestly, with the way they've been playing, it might be sooner than that. This is only Dan Campbell's second season as a head coach.
I think
But
they give him
it's
3.
getting to that point. You think they give him 3 seasons?
Yeah, I think you can lose a football game, you can't lose a locker room. And I think as long as he's the coach, you give him 3 years, and I'm telling you, this Lions team, they're staying together. They're losing, but they're staying together. But here's the sneaky thing. Here's what you got to remember. The Cowboys have made a lot of really good teams. On this show, we've had serious talks about a lot of teams that just played the Cowboys, like the Bengals.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think maybe this is just a defense that on any given Sunday, our next podcast, we're going to be questioning the team they played. Like maybe this is just a really, really good defense. I think they forced a couple turnovers in the game. You know, sometimes you just got to give credit to the other team. It's not so much about the Lions. It may just be this Lions defense is the real deal, and they're going to take them deep in the playoffs.
This Lions defense or Dallas defense?
Oh, I'm sorry. This Dallas defense. That's what I meant.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, no, they're definitely not taking them anywhere near the playoffs. And you gotta, and this is one of the things I was talking about a couple weeks ago when I was saying that Dan Campbell might get fired by the end of the season. Is he has the same team from last year, which usually when you have the same team and they look good on Hard Knocks, which by the way, bet on Hard Knocks for making us believe in them. But when you have the same team and you bring them into next season and you talk about how like you're better, you're not gonna you're in these games, and then you start off the season the way you do with just losing by 3 to the Eagles and starting off with the number 1 offense. It's like, hey, you're supposed to do a lot more things with this team. It's supposed to be winning.
Yeah.
We have to also remember DeAndre Swift has been out. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been out as well. So you have your 2 top offensive weapons who were probably did a lot to contribute to that number 1 offense in those first few weeks of this season are out with injuries. So, I mean,
I was going to say that.
toll.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. When
Until I
you
said
said, no. When you said, you're like, maybe we can bring Alex in. I was like, the injuries.
Yeah.
So on the spread, right, the Giants are probably the most surprising team. You look at them last week going into this game, 5-1 off of a Ravens win. But for some reason, all their professionals and in Vegas, they thought that this was going to be a sneaky win. And on paper, if you looked at, I think points for and points against, the Jaguars are ranked higher, so they might have just won based on matchups. And the Jaguars were like a sneaky team to win. Giants still get the dub, but they do keep it close. And the Giants are the Jaguars are another 2-5 team where you can't really like throw the towel on them and just say that they're gonna end up being like 2-14. At least I don't feel that way. But they also
wait. Are we talking Giants Jaguars right now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know we transitioned, but go ahead. That's my bad.
No, you're good. But staying with the Giants, keeping it a 6-point game. What do you take from this game? Are the Giants just going to win a lot of close games like this, or are they just, I don't know if they're playing down to their competition?
I think a lot of this does have to do with coaching with what you got from Brian Daboll. Daboll is someone who just came into this team and realized, okay, I'm just gonna play to whatever the fucking strengths I have. And I think, I feel like I sound on record saying this, but Daniel Jones is just a runner, and he's like, I'm gonna run my quarterback. I'm gonna run with Saquon. Saquon is having a resurrection type of year. And, nobody could have called that. But Dable said, if I have a running back with quads the size of fucking tree trunks, then yes, I'm going to run this guy. And Daniel Jones, my quarterback, not the best passer. When you get him in open space and you've got him running forward, this guy is fast and can get you, can get you places, can get touchdowns, which he has gotten. So you combine good coaching from Dable, which, he's an offensive guy who literally made Josh Allen into who he is. Combine that with a schedule that's been somewhat easy, even with the uncertainties that this season has showed. And that's like a winning formula. They're winning the games that they're supposed to. Are they winning them close? Sure. But I mean, that's what's going to propel them into the playoffs. I mean, they're 6-1, right? So it's kind of tough to not make the playoffs starting off 6-1. Like, you've got to have a really, really bad rest of the season to not get to the playoffs. And in an NFC East that has the Eagles and the Cowboys, you're going to take whatever wins you can get, when they're doing the things they're doing. So I think it's just a combination of good coaching, solid offensive game planning, using the people that you have, and combined with a schedule that's kind of just in your favor. And that's really how it's worked. Brian Dable is just double the size of a man's balls too. And he goes for it. And it just comes out on top for him. What I do want to say though, is I have a bold prediction. This is going to be, Dable's going to be like Nagy was in his first year with the Bears, coach of the year, and then just tumble, just like down after this year. So I'm kind of hoping that happens because I'm a New York hater. So,
yeah, I was like, what's up with that prediction? Like, are you okay? Like, do you want to talk
just
about
New York? I'm down bad. But yeah, all those
he's going to lose his family, his marriage, his kids. He's going to lose it all. Third down conversions. The Giants went 50%. Okay, that's really good, I guess.
Oh,
I mean, it could be better, but 50%. I would take that right now. Time of possession. 34 minutes to 25 minutes. So they have the ball longer because they're running the football. Obviously, they had 236 rushing yards. That's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards. And 8 penalties to the Jaguars 13. So they're well coached. They're 50% on third down, and they're able to run the ball and control the clock. Because here's what's really interesting. Jacksonville had 452 yards of total offense, but it only resulted in 17 points. So it's like bend but don't break. That's what it seems like. They're getting into the red zone, and they're able to play solid red zone defense, and they're not getting penalized. They're controlling the things they can control, and it's working for them. My bold prediction has nothing to do with Dable losing his family. My bold prediction is that
Jesus Christ.
My bold prediction,
that, by the way.
If they're just tuning in right now, he didn't say that. My bold prediction is that the Giants are not going to make the postseason this year.
Wow.
Yep.
Bold fucking words.
Yeah, I think that they're still going to be. I still think Dabo is going to get coach of the year. I do, but I think they're going to miss it by the week 17 loss.
And I could totally see that happening too, right? Like I don't think it's likely, but if it's going to happen to anybody, it's going to happen in a New York team. You know what I mean? Like, they're just bad sometimes when it comes to shit, like in crunch time. So I can see that happening. I don't think it's likely, but again, I can see that happening.
Looks like they have a bye week next week too, so can't lose on a bye week.
I mean, you can. You get some injuries, you lost the bye week. Next game up, we've got the Colts at Titans visiting Tennessee, getting the loss in Tennessee. Matt Ryan is getting benched, I think, for Sam Ehlinger. For next week's game.
No, for the rest of the season.
Oh, for the rest of the season. I mean, I can see why. The Colts are what, 3-2-1 or 3-3-1 or something like that now?
Yeah, 3-3-1.
Yeah, 3-3-1 after the loss to the Titans. And I mean, it wasn't like this exciting game. I mean, sure, if you're a Titans fan, you love it, but I mean, they lost 19-10, and Matt Ryan threw the ball 44 times. I think he had like 2 touchdowns and an interception, or 1 touchdown and an interception, whatever it was. Yeah, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked 3 times. Jonathan Taylor had only 58 yards. So this offense is obviously not clicking with Ryan because one, you have Jonathan Taylor, who was, I think, an MVP last year, an NFL MVP, or should have been an MVP. Sorry. And he's only getting 58 yards on 10 attempts. And you've got Matt Ryan throwing the ball 40 sometimes. Like, I don't think it's necessarily Matt Ryan's fault. I think the coaching has a lot to do with this. But the Titans also, like, credit to them, credit to Tannehill, still going strong. 13 completions, no touchdowns or anything, but Derrick Henry doing his thing, 128 yards. And I'm not sure how they got touchdowns. I don't think, did they even get a fucking touchdown? I don't know how they got them,
Yeah,
but
or they got one in the third.
oh, okay. Because I'm not seeing anything on the stats here. I don't know who scored for the Titans, but the
Oh, for the
Colts
Titans,
offense
yeah.
just isn't gelling. Yeah, the offense just isn't gelling for the Colts. Sam Ellinger's coming in. Matt Ryan's getting benched. What did you think about this game? Any like thoughts? I mean, this is kind of a boring game.
Yeah, I guess my only thought, Tennessee went into halftime at 13-0. So they had the shutout kind of going for them. They kind of had this game won from the beginning
Mhm.
and never lost it. Never played without the lead. Um, my thoughts were kind of, echoing yours with 65 yards on the ground. Like, how do you do that? And I
Mhm.
understand if you go into the halftime being shut out, you're more likely to have to be a little more picky on your play calling. Probably playing behind is going to warrant a lot more passes, but you also have to remember that you're only down 13 points. It's not 24-0. You're down 2 possessions.
Yeah.
You might as well have the whole game. 13 points is not enough points to throw the playbook away when you have maybe the best running back in the NFL. Definitely considered top 3,
Mhm.
and you just throw the runaway and start throwing it a bunch of times. It just seems sloppy. They seem a little desperate. And meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans are back to their winning ways of just running the football for
Yeah.
138 yards. Derrick Henry, very
Mhm.
Derrick Henry heavy, not scoring a ton of points, but they could on any given Sunday, and playing defense. And this is a team that I see making the playoffs. This is a team I see winning the division.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, the AFC South right now looks just dog shit. You know what I mean? Like we really thought like the Bucks were gonna kind of run away with it, and it's just dog shit division. So Tannehill and the Titans, Derrick Henry, King Henry, they're gonna take it.
Well, the Bucks are in the Falcons
Oh,
and
NFC.
Panthers.
God, what am I,
I
dude?
got you're good. You're good. You're good.
It's
It's a
been a
long
long
day.
Monday night. It's been a long Monday night.
The Bears
Next,
won, so he's trashed. Trying to
I'm fucking hammered.
the greatest day
So
of my life.
we talked about you having quarterback troubles in fantasy when you picked up Tom Brady on the Bucks. This is the game I had. I had picked up Aaron Rodgers against the Commanders, thinking this is an easy 15 to 20 points. No, the Packers came into Washington, and what did we talk about last week? Or yeah, last week. Taylor Heineke instills that excitement, or some. It just invokes
Yeah,
emotion from that Washington Commanders fan base. They ended up winning 23-21, and they made Aaron Rodgers, even though he passed 2 touchdowns and he did get an interception, they made him look stupid, dude. They made him look not like a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback, future Hall of Fame. They made him look nothing like that. So Taylor Heineke came in starting for an injured Carson Wentz, and he had the headband on. He had the Heineke look that you like to see from him from playoffs past. He went to the playoffs. Just remember that. So
he
he
did.
came in, got the dub. Yeah, I think he had a passing touchdown and 1 interception or something like that.
Oh, I
2
totally
passing
forgot.
touchdowns. Yeah,
That was
either
that
that or
was
he
a
was, yeah, or a wild card game. I don't know what it was exactly. Either way, he was in the
well.
playoffs.
I watched the press conference after the game, and Rogers is just like, "Yeah, we didn't play very good." Like he didn't really know what to say. Besides, um, there was missed opportunities. he said we all need to play better. Like, it's not just on me. It's not. He wasn't calling out his receivers. He was saying, like, collectively, we're not playing good football right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really all. That's all I want to hear from a fan when I listen to the press conference. All I hear is that, oh, we'll get there. But this is kind of a really important moment for the Packers, because if they don't win next week, and next week we'll talk about that on Thursday, but they're going to Buffalo. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers said it best. He's like, this is probably what we need. This is an opportunity for us to be exposed in Buffalo. And, one way to get people to remember your Aaron bleeping Rodgers is to go into Buffalo and get a win. And Buffalo's coming off a bye week, so good luck with that. I think this Packers team is just not the Packer team that we've seen in the past. If they need Nathaniel Hackett back, dude, I'll ship him right now. I'll put a bow on it. I'll pay the shipping. I'll overnight that bitch.
And I was gonna say, speaking of Nathaniel Hackett, you just want to get into the next game. You want to roll into this game that my wife was like literally laughing at you for.
Oh my God.
Doesn't it suck that she is not actually a Jets fan and she's just being a Jets fan to just troll us?
It is the greatest troll run in history. It's because it's working. Somehow it's working.
Because it's working. She's using her magic powers. It's spooky time. I think it's gonna wear out after October.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, look, let me just dive in really quick.
Please do. The
Denver Broncos are not doing anything wrong defensively, and I want to start with that. They kept. I think Zach Wilson was like 2 for 10 on passes over 10 yards. This is a team that had 105 passing yards on the day, and they ran the ball for 155, but that was really one big run. That was 80 yards. They had one big play the entire game.
Yep.
This was 324 total yards of offense for the Denver Broncos. But once again, this was a game where going into it, it was going to be decided if the Ripon, where we were calling it let's rip it, let him rip it instead of let's ride. We're like, if he can go in and just have timing with this offense and prove that systematically this offense does work, Russ is just out of time, because we've seen him missing wide open targets. It was going to kind of identify if the problem lied within Nathaniel Hackett or Russell Wilson. And I don't know how much I buy into that, because why would you expect a backup quarterback to go and outperform? Because a lot of Broncos people were saying, hey, I think that we're whatever bar we were at, we are now lower. They said this is the worst we've been all season. I was like, not really. We scored 9 points against the Colts, and we had Russell Wilson, who's supposed to be our hope and future. I think that this is just Nathaniel Hackett's offense is terrible. Like, he threw it 46 times with Brett Ripon. Why are you throwing the ball 46 times against a Jets team when the whole entire game you're within a field goal basically of them? You held them to 3 field goals, and I've been saying it every single week. All we have to do is score more than 16 points. That's our number. That is our number, not 16. We have to score more. So 17, 18, 19 will all work. And all we do every week is score less than 16 points. It gets to a very frustrating point where it's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. It's stale. It's stagnant. It's not improving. And it's a franchise like Denver is iconic. And, up to the 2015 season, I told you, more Super Bowl appearances than losing seasons. We're not used to seeing the Broncos be this bad for this long. I've spent 1/3 of my life now watching this atrocious offense, and it's getting to a point where people are getting worn out. Yet fans leaving Mile High, and they're not leaving because they're not invested and they don't care. They're leaving because they can't stand the torture chamber that they're stuck in, watching the same shit on replay over and over and over. And I mean, I didn't turn the game off because I had hope, but aside from some bad penalties on Sauce Gardner, that there was a couple that were just blatantly where Jerry Jeudy had him beat. and he grabbed his shoulder and pulled him back. And there was one on Cortland Sutton on a big 4th down to end the game. They just kind of didn't throw the flags, and there was a fumble return for a touchdown. They said they blew a whistle. Yeah, there was some of that stuff going on, but look, you can't be so close in games that you count on. You got to yell at the refs. Like this game shouldn't have been close for how good they played defense. If we just would have scored like one touchdown, man, just one, like this
just
game
one, yeah,
would have at least been tied. But they couldn't do it. They scored one touchdown. They missed the extra point, and all they could do was 3 more points for the rest of the game. It's the same story, and I'm nauseous just talking about it.
And if you follow us on Instagram at Star6 Media, you saw Kyle's frustration. We've got Eric in fresh off of a Bears win at Big League Chicago with a live stream, Bears post-game live stream. Catch that on the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the good stuff. Eric, what are your thoughts on this Jets Denver Broncos game? 16, what was it? 12 to 9, 16 to 9,
16 to 9
Jets win. Yeah, 16 to 9 Jets win. What do you think?
If it wasn't for Kyle naming the actual players of the team, I really thought he was just talking about the Chicago Bears for a quick second, because it just kind of sounds eerily similar, especially what we've been through for the last couple of years, or not even the last couple of years, literally like the last couple of decades, where we just all struggled to score some points, and we had some like that this year. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. I'm actually putting some money down that Nathaniel Hackett might get even be on the chopping block, before the season end, anyways. Right? It's nothing has worked. What has worked for the Broncos this year? Got money for Russ. You thought Russ was going to be it. You have the players. I ain't gonna lie. You have the players. Why hasn't it worked? I don't know if he still thinks it's Aaron Rodgers back there. I don't know what it is. Like, reports are coming out that they're thinking about trading away, Judy, which is weird in its own way, because you barely drafted him like what, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
If that, so it's kind of like it's kind of like it's like the blue and orange, just like the other way though, and it's weird that the Broncos are this. We weren't expecting this from the Broncos like at all. I think all of us thought they were going to be high and mighty, in the AFC West, and what was supposed to be the tough AFC West, and it's ending up being like just any old AFC West where it's just the Kansas City Chiefs are just strolling, and just dominating.
Yeah, and this is, and you can clearly see from Kyle that the frustration with the fans is just boiling over. Kyle, like, is it? But is it like? You love to see it, right? Is this just? Is it panicking too soon, or is it just frustration and you don't want to see anything really happen? No trades, no Nathaniel Hackett being gone at the end of the year. What is exactly the feeling, I guess you would say, as a Broncos fan?
The feeling I have is, and there's a lot of people that when things aren't going well, everybody is pointing at everybody. Now, I'm going to start with the GM, George Paton. He should have a secure job. He's building a great roster. And you guys know from seeing him in Minnesota for all those years, he's the real deal. Nathaniel Hackett, I just think he's got to go. And I've never, ever given a coach less than 1 year to prove themselves. And honestly, it's easy to say this as a fan, but if I was the GM, would I fire him? I'm not sure yet, because it's only been, 7 games. But here's the red flag for me. Nothing's improving. Nothing's getting better. And I don't know if it's Russell Wilson or it's Nathaniel Hackett. Like, let's say you get rid of Hackett and Russ is just, doing the same thing. And it's like, ooh, was it the right move? And a lot of people from Seattle, because they stalk Russell Wilson's Twitter like a jealous girlfriend, they were like, oh, Russell Wilson was just basically, he was in a system with Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll knew how to use him, but he was never a good quarterback. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just saw so many highlights of him spinning around, and I understand he's not as mobile now, but he's not even a shell of who he was. And I just have a hard time believing he dropped off a cliff in a matter of half of a season. It just doesn't add up to me. I think you got to get rid of Nathaniel Hackett, and if you're smart, you start calling Sean Payton. That is a guy that I think could come into a scenario like this and want to be there. There's a lot to like about this job. great fan base, traditions. You got John Elway in the building. Peyton Manning's always in the building. I mean,
Yep,
if you're
and
Sean Payton, this is a fun place to come, and you got talented people. But this is what makes it so frustrating, is that we recognize we're in a window. We drafted all these guys: Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, a nice running back who's out for the season. But these are all drafted. These are hand selected by George Payton, all on rookie contracts still. You're in a window right now, and this is what you do with it. That's what sucks. Like, it's one thing to lose games and you're like, we don't have a talented football team. It's one thing to see all these
Yeah.
guys on the field and you're like, dude, we're literally in a window and we're just throwing it away. And that for me is the hardest part. I would rather lose with no talent.
And it's crazy that you say that you would just want Nathaniel Hackett gone at the end of the year. To me, like you said, like you usually don't give a coach more than a year, right, to kind of figure it out. But you have a point. The roster they have is just, it's really good. And there's just something not happening between the talent on the field and the coaching staff. Like, there's just a disconnect, and I don't know what it is. But Eric, you got any last thoughts on this game before we move on?
Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh man!
Oh God, he's just being mean at this point.
Literally, I am.
My last thought though is that if we lose in London, Nathaniel Hackett will be fired. That is
definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, he will be fired right before he gets home from London.
Heard it here first.
He probably wouldn't even make the plane back to the States. He'll just stay in London and just keep it there.
Your GM's gonna call and be like, you know what? Stay, enjoy the UK for a bit. We'll talk when you get back.
Hey, we talk about, hey, we just got scheduled this new bye for the week. You just enjoy your time here in London.
They actually do have a bye week. That's funny, after the London game.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Actually, quick plug: they might not play Russ in London, so he has a full basically 4 weeks to recover from the hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to throw out there in case people are wondering about starting him, which I don't know why you would.
Smart.
And then the very last thing was, it's hard for George
don't.
Payton to it's hard for George Payton to fire Hackett because he hired him. So, the mistake, it's his fault. He's like pointing out his own flaw. You know what I mean? So I still think he would do it, but it doesn't look good on him either. So that's my last thoughts on that. We'll see what happens. We got the Jacksonville at 9:30 a.m. Sunday. We could keep it with the AFC West, though. We got a couple more AFC West games coming up here. The Raiders, who we thought were underperforming, did what they probably should have done against the Texans team, 20-38. Mm-hmm. What did you think about the Raiders and the ability to almost drop a 40 burger?
I'm not gonna lie. This is a game that I did not switch on once. I had a game we'll talk about later, the Chiefs and the Niners, that I was like, yeah, this game I'm watching. But I mean, again, like you mentioned, this is a team that did exactly what they should have done. I don't think they should have given up 20 points to the Texans, although I feel like, again, Houston is one of those teams where it's like they can absolutely put up 20 points. They're just, kind of a shit team in general. But this is the Raiders did what they were supposed to do. They got the dub 38-20. Again, I didn't really watch this game, although the stats kind of have what's his name? Sorry, Derek Carr. 20 for 27 with a touchdown, 240 yards. Like, it was awesome. And then it was really the Jacobs show, right? 20 rushes for 143 yards. Devontae Adams, 8 receptions, 95 yards. Like this is something that the Raiders should have done, and they did it. Eric, did you take a look at this game? Did you gander at this game at all?
I had the red zone. It'll pop up every once in a while, but it was the only reason why I had a Carr with an anytime touchdown, Devontae Adams with an anytime touchdown. So that's the only reason why I really had it. It was on my red zone, simply because that and fantasy football focus. To be honest with you guys, real quick, gotta go. Just wanted to say hi. Good job on the show. Yeah. Broncos country. Let's ride. Bears, baby. Bears, baby. We didn't get it. We weren't embarrassed on national football. On national TV.
Hey, I picked the Bears. I picked the Bears.
You did pick the Bears, yeah. And we all picked the Bears to lose.
We did it. We did it. We absolutely did not. We
I told him I
chose the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I love to be proven wrong by the Bears. I love to be
Same.
proven wrong by the Bears.
That's
I
all
mean,
they do.
even though I lost on $1,700, but that's another story for another day.
Oh no.
Never bet against your own team.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
see, I don't even bet for my team because my heart
Yeah,
and my
you
soul is already
can't.
invested. And if
Yeah.
I invest my
Yep.
money into it, I'll be triple pissed. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
guys, good seeing you guys. Bear down, 33-14. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm going to sleep a happy man, guys. I got to go to work.
That's
That's
I
right.
miss that feeling.
That's
I
right.
miss that
All right.
feeling, man.
See you, Eric.
God,
Ugh.
that is a good feeling. Now, I just want to say the one hole in the Raiders that it'll be easy not to talk about that I think is a major concern: 404 total yards on the Houston Texans. That is not
Yeah.
like something to just not talk about. They
True.
are very vulnerable on defense. Now that's like a Davis Mills led Houston team. I mean, I'm not trying to be an ass, but you give up 400 yards to Davis Mills. Like, what are you going to do when you play the Chargers or the Chiefs?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like it's bittersweet if you're a Raiders fan because it's like, yeah, we got the win and it doesn't look close. But what is going on with our defense giving up 400 yards to Davis Mills?
And Mills was 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. So yeah,
That is a good fantasy play.
Oh yeah, that's who you should have picked up.
Yeah, who would have known?
Quarterback
Davis Mills. Let's ride.
Davis Mills Mafia. Let's move on to the next game. Keeping it in the AFC West.
This was one we
Seahawks-
disagreed on.
Yeah, at Chargers. What a fucking game by the Seahawks. Chargers lost 37-23 at home. You had the Seahawks in this. I had the Chargers. I thought the Chargers were going to win at home. I was bamboozled and I want my money back, Chargers. Dude, Geno Smith, 210 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, it was really KJ Walker, right? That rushing for 160, almost 170 yards in this game. But wow, like this Seahawks team should not be this good, and yet somehow they're what right now? What are they? They are 4-3 and first in the NFC West. They're leading their division.
Wow.
And we're going to talk about the Niners later, but they're leading their division. And they started off again. You kind of talked about we talked about how I said that they like have this like weird hold on teams where they beat them and then their just season collapses. Like they did it to the Broncos. Sorry, not to keep rubbing it in, but like, are they going to do it to the Chargers now? They did it to the Lions. Like this team of fucking nobodies really, right? Or just other than DK Metcalf and their other wide receiver, they're doing things in Seattle. And I don't know, man. I just Pete Carroll's a good coach too. I think we should give him credit for this.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker is the real deal, and everybody knew. Walker. Yeah, and everybody knew when he got the start last week. They were like, "Oh, this dude's about to go off," and now he's done it 2 weeks in a row. And if you like watch him play, he's going to be really good for a while. 168 yards, 2 tuds. I am gonna do the first time in history. I'm going to offer you a trade. I know that on your team that you don't have a running back, and I want to know what everybody thinks about it. He doesn't have a running back, dude. He's been riding with Najee Harris, who has like 1 game over 50 yards.
And Chubb.
No. I mean, he doesn't have one. He has Chubb, but he needs a running back. So I'm going to give him Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans.
For
Josh Allen.
No, absolutely not. Nope.
Dude, look at the points, though. That'd be bad on me.
That'd be bad, I'm screwed on a quarterback. I know,
but think about it. Quarterback's like minus 10. You got 40 points.
With the luck we've both been having, quarterbacks are not easy to replace.
Let us know if you would take that trade. I'm curious. I think it's worth considering because you're like, well, if Josh Allen has 30 points and Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans have 20, I mean, you got more points just starting them two. Over
right, and you're over 2 positions,
but you're still gonna have somebody in there scoring 10 to 15 points. And
look, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't give up Josh Allen with the season he's having. There's no way. There's just no way I could give up Josh Allen.
I'll give you
Like
Tom
he's
Brady.
one of those. Huh?
I'll give you Tom Brady.
I'll give you crisp high five for Tom Brady. How about that?
Let us know in the comments how disrespectful.
Okay, so that was Seahawks Chargers again. Third AFC West team, or sorry, fourth actually. All AFC West teams.
Yep.
Chiefs visiting the Bay Area, going against the 49ers. They looked Patrick Mahomes 430 yards or something like that, a couple tutties. They made the San Francisco 49ers look like dog shit, dude.
Yeah,
and this defense
Chiefs are really good.
The Chiefs are really, really good. And this is a 49ers team that has all the talent, and they added CMC, and they still have a really dominant defense. And they got a 40 burger. 40, not 40, but 44 burger put on them.
Dude,
like
44
I think that's just
burger.
a testament. I think that's just a testament is how good the Chiefs are and have always been. Well, last 5 years or so.
Yeah, 530 yards of offense for the Chiefs. If you just show me that one stat, 99% of the time, you're talking about the winner. And this was against the number one defense in the NFL, a team that gave up 89 points going into this, 89 points total, and they gave up 44. They gave up half of their yearly total in one game.
Jesus Christ.
And you got a Chiefs team that is averaging 29.8 points a game, and they score 44. So, wow. I mean, the combination of that is just like, is mind-blowing because they had a better offense than normal against the best defense they could have played. And this is a Chiefs team that until something happens to Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes, you can just write them up. This is, I've told people in the offseason, this is the new Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. And they were like, no. I got surprising amounts of no. And dude, mark my words, when the AFC Championship rolls around, it'll be the Bills and the Chiefs. It's almost like that's what people don't like about the NBA sometimes is like it's so predictable. Like you already know who's going to go because just talent really kind of dominates the NBA. And now they're building a lot of super teams. This is kind of the case I feel about the AFC. It's like it's fun to, think that one of these other teams could squeak in, but I mean, is it just another Buffalo, Kansas City? It seems like it watching games like this. And the 49ers, they look good one week and then they look bad and then they lose to the Broncos and then they win an impressive road game. And I thought this was a real test for them. This is like, okay, who are the 49ers? Okay, that's who they are. Got it.
Yeah, and to your Chiefs point, like this is a team that for the last few years or whatever is good for 12 to 15 wins a season. There's like zero doubt in my mind that they are never that they can be worse than 12 to 15 wins.
Maybe 11. Maybe 11.
Maybe 11 on an off year where Patrick Mahomes sits out a couple games because he's hurt or something, or maybe they just like, hey, we already won the division by week 15, so let's just let whoever the fuck take the reins at quarterback here.
I hear you.
And the San Francisco 49ers, like you said, they look good one week. They have a weird loss another, and then they go up against an elite team like the Chiefs, and their defense is just nowhere to be found, letting up 44 points. And again, this is I think this is all credit to the Chiefs. They go against a lot of good talent and have gone up against a lot of good talent over the last few years. They know they know what defenses look like. There's no upcoming defense I think that they can't really beat unless it might be the Bills. But this is all credit to the Chiefs, man. Like the San Francisco 49ers have a good team and they have a lot of talent, but they just lose against a more talented team. And I think that's really it at the end of the day for this game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That was a game that was also not really close at any point. I know you said you watched it. It seemed like the Chiefs pretty much had a handle on that the whole time.
And you saw a couple plays from the 49ers defense, but it was never a complete game from them because, like you said, it was never close. So that's what it is.
You're just missing that defensive piece.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Who,
Bosa, right? They're missing Bosa.
Oh yeah, 49ers. Yeah, they're missing Bosa right now.
That is a big, that's a big miss. So
Yeah.
that took us to Sunday night. We had Sunday night football in SoFlo, South Florida. For those that don't know,
SoFlo. If you don't know, now you know. SoFlo.
That's actually what they call it. But anyway, so South Florida, it was a fun first half, but both teams scored 0 points in the second half. So you could have stopped watching at halftime. You missed nothing.
You really could have.
It was 10-16 at the end of the first half, and that was the score at the end of the game. Tua came back, 261 yards passing, 111 rushing yards. Seems like a very well-balanced offense. That's kind of what I would expect going into halftime with a lead. Hey, they got the job done. The Steelers, I don't think they're going to win the North. I don't know where you stand on that at this point in the season.
No, but I got to keep the bet alive.
Oh God, I hope they make you do something terrible. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I got to keep the bet alive. I said Steelers preseason. I got to stick to it. The AFC North. Unless the Ravens and the Bengals decide to just shit the bed, kind of like you said with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, unless something happens to them, they're gonna win the fucking North. Here's the thing, and I did exactly what you said. You could have watched the first half and then just turned it off. That's exactly what I did. My wife and I were just watching something else, which, by the way, we didn't mention, but my wife did. Oh no, we did. We did her trolling of the Jets on you. I was just gonna say on that part real quick. It's gonna be so bad if the Jets beat the Broncos and the Bears. She's just gonna troll my ass. Anyway, this was a first half where you could see how different this offense operates under Tua versus
Bridgewater
versus anyone else you throw out there. Dude, these first couple drives from Tua were so smooth. Everything was going exactly as McDaniels was hoping it would. The only one thing I wish would change is Tua just fucking slide, dude. Stop lowering your shoulder. You just came off missing a few games from a concussion. Settle down. But yeah, other than that, the offense was flowing a lot better. Raheem Mostert is doing really well on this team. You remember that name from a while ago with the 49ers, right?
I do.
Yeah. So this offense just looks so much better with Tua, and obviously it does than backup quarterbacks. But it's just nice to see the Dolphins kind of get back in the groove with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. It just looks like it looks what I wish the Bears would look like. They looked a lot better tonight, but it looked what I wish the Bears would look like every week, with a quarterback like that. So the offense would just return to what it is under McDaniels and Tua. And I think going forward, they're going to score more than 16 points for the next couple of weeks, as long as Tua is healthy and, staying away from those concussions. But yeah, it just looked better. And Pittsburgh, Pickett, I like Pickett. I do like Pickett. I think
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, I don't see really anything too wrong with him. I don't think he's a runner. He's definitely a pocket passer right now.
Well, he did. Although he did scramble.
I was going to say he did roll out of the pocket and scramble for a few times there. But I just don't. I think Pittsburgh is fine with Pickett as their quarterback. They got George Pickens, also as a wide receiver. They've got Chase Claypool. They've got Deontay Johnson. So I think they're going to be fine at quarterback. Obviously, this is kind of a transition year. You get Trubisky to be that veteran, and you sit him for Pickett, which I think is the right move. I wish Nagy would have done that last year with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields, but he just needs to let it throw, and that's what the head coach for the Steelers is doing. That's what he's doing. Mike Tomlin, that's exactly what he's doing. That's what he should be doing. But Steelers Nation, I think with Pickett, you guys are fine. You're going to take a bunch of L's this year, but starting next year once he gets a full year in the NFL, just that experience, I think you'll be fine for next year.
Yeah, he had an interception, I think, on his second drive, and he was able to come back and lead a touchdown scoring drive on the
Yeah.
following. So that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see the ability to bounce back really quick. And then
Mm-hmm.
he threw a second interception. I believe it was in the third quarter, which just looked like not
Yeah.
understanding the speed of the game, or the wide receiver ran the wrong route. So he did have two interceptions, but there was also a lot to like. He had three total, actually. He had one at the very end in garbage time. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say garbage time because there was 18 seconds left and they were down 6 points. So,
Yeah.
but he had a chance to win the game. So there is 3 picks. It's easy to just get like, oh, the Steelers have their new guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got to like go out there and do a little bit better than 3 picks in a game. And look, for these young guys, you have to like just accept in their first year that they're going to throw a lot of picks. Like you just got to throw them into the fire, what is it, like death by whatever, just throw them out there,
Yeah.
let him make mistakes, let him get better, let him feel the game. I mean, he's not going to get better sitting on the bench learning from, no offense, but homie from Chicago,
Mitch
Trubisky.
Trubisky.
He's not
No,
like that.
absolutely
It's not like
not.
he's sitting behind Brett Favre or, somebody like honorable. But I
Mhm.
also thought that, was Ben Roethlisberger like decent? I blew my mind. I thought he was so bad.
It's the same team, right? Like it's the same team.
It's the same team. I was like, maybe Ben Roethlisberger wasn't like the worst quarterback that we thought he was, because they were always at least 500. So
Yeah,
I thought
true.
this was a game that Pittsburgh could have won. The door was open there at the end, but they're just missing that veteran leadership that Roethlisberger had. I think if this was a Roethlisberger-led team, Pittsburgh would have probably drove down and got the touchdown, to win the game, because they were only down 6. So that's kind of my take on it. I expected that, though, Tua coming back from a major injury, being out for 2 weeks, and then he was pretty much out for 3 weeks. So I think it's going to take a little time to like get the wheels going again. This was a good first game, though, because they got a win, and we'll see where they go from there. But I think Miami, like if their stock was really high, like week 3 when they beat the Bills, and then it kind of dropped, and I think it's on the climb right now. It took a dip, and now it's climbing back up.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing for Miami. It's on the climb up. And yeah, with Roethlisberger, you had that veteran presence, and usually you'd think like a Deontay Johnson or a Chase Claypool would kind of also give you like that like, hey, let's calm down, let's try to get this dub. And he marched down, just didn't end up winning. So, or they didn't end up scoring. But again, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They've got Pickett there. It just let him throw, let him be who he has to be, and you guys will be fine.
Exactly. My dad's birthday was today. He turned 49, and he's a diehard Packer fan.
Happy birthday to your dad.
Yeah, and guess what he got for his birthday?
Did he get an Aaron Rodgers jersey?
No, he got a Chicago Bears win.
Yes, he fucking did. And boy, was that a great win. This was so we had a pregame show for Big League Chicago about 45 minutes before the game started. Everyone, me, Eric, John, Jack, we all had the Bears losing. We all had the Bears scoring, I think, below like 14 points or maybe like 2 touchdowns, and that's it. That was the opposite of what happened. The Bears came out and scored 30 fucking 3 points against Bill Belichick. And I got to tell you, in the second quarter, it did not look like it was going to be that way at all, because the Bears had scored a touchdown. They'd gotten a field goal. And then what happened? The defense was doing really well against Mac Jones. What happens? Bill Belichick, a coach who wants to win more than anything, doesn't give a shit about feelings, said, hey, Jones, you suck right now. Take a seat. Brings in Zappe. Zappe scores 2 touchdowns, 14 unanswered. So that was like scary, not gonna lie, right? Like it was pretty scary. I
Who
was
would
like,
have
shit, now we're
thought
down.
that Zappy
Yeah,
would be the guy to scare you? You're like, oh shit!
dude, you're telling me.
It's like the
And
game
just
changed in a zap. It was.
in a zappy. They say they're calling it Zappy Hour, and I gotta give it to them. Like that is fucking clever as shit. I love that Zappy Hour. But yeah, dude, the momentum shifted. The Bears were getting the ball, and I was just like, oh god, here we go. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw exactly what I was going through my tweets. But I was like, here we go. The momentum's over. Like the Bears are just gonna sink. Like I wasn't thinking
Just a
this, but
downer. Such
no,
a
but I was
downer.
just saying I wasn't thinking that, but I was just like, fuck, is this the same road we're gonna go down? Because that's usually how it goes, right? The Bears come on in their next possession, score a touchdown, dude. And I was like, thank God, Khalil Herbert, which is a score that Fields got absolutely destroyed on. He saw the blitz coming, waited for the pass rusher to get past him on his left side, sidearm slung it to Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert caught it like around the 20-ish or whatever it was. He had a blocker in front. Blocker got his assignment. Khalil Herbert ran in for a touchdown. Bears are up 17-14. And then the defense did its part. They held the Patriots to no points, and the Bears scored a field goal to end the second quarter, basically 10.5. So they're up 20-14 at this point. And I was like, this is what we need to do, right? Like I was saying on Instagram, the Bears the offense needs to continue doing what it's doing. The defense needs to continue what it's doing, and we'll win this game. And, for most part, you're thinking like, yeah, no shit. Like that's exactly but the Bears haven't been able to do that. They just have not been able to do that. They have not been able to kind of like put their foot on the team's throat and be like, we are winning this game, whether you like it or not. And that's exactly what they did. They came out in the third quarter. They scored 2 field goals, which, when I was looking at the Commander game, I'm like, yes, take the points now. You're in range. Take the points. They got 6 points, held the Patriots to 0 points in the third, scored another touchdown in the fourth with a Montgomery rushing touchdown. And the defense got takeaways, got interceptions. Kyler Gordon had one. Roquan Smith had one. Justin Jones stripped, or he didn't strip, but he recovered a fumble. Like a lot of things were happening. Just a lot of good things were happening to this Bears team, and they put up 33 points. Justin Fields, the offense with Getsy looked good, as they have been, kept the opposing offense at bay, and this was a complete team win. I said it on the Instagram story. This is a complete win for the Bears. Cairo Santos was hitting those field goals. I think the longest one was from 50 yards. So he got 4 field goals total, I'm pretty sure. So
it's like so much. You have so much hope. It's like this is what we could be, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm like,
and
why haven't
number
we been doing
9,
this?
number
Oh,
9.
Jaquan Brisker, man. That's
at the end of the year when they're showing like NFL films when they do the honors and give trophies away and stuff, and they show like the greatest plays of the season. That interception will be there.
The one-handed dude. That was one of the best. That was one of the sickest interceptions I think I've ever seen.
That was nasty.
I love Eddie Jackson interceptions, but that one has to be tops for like the best interception in the last mile.
I had to take a shower after that. That's how nasty it was.
It's just filthy.
Just disgusting.
Again, credit to the defense for what they did. Credit to the O-line, actually. Like they saw how just disgusting they played last week, and they actually stepped it up this week. Sure, there was still a lot of pressures, and I think Justin Fields, he still had 4 sacks, right? But the line still looked pretty good, and I think the biggest part that really helped this offense was there were designed plays for Justin Fields to run the ball. There was designed plays for him to roll out of the pocket. There was just more of that. It just seemed like it was a lot better. I feel like the wide receivers played better. They were getting more separation. And I mean, you can't really say much more about the rushing. Justin Fields rushed for 82 yards. Montgomery and Herbert followed that with 62 yards apiece. So the rushing was huge. And I think they rushed for close to what the Patriots had in total yards. So again, a complete team win. I couldn't be happier that they won it on Monday Night Football. We're 3-4, but man, that third win was a fucking great one. So that's my rant on the Bears.
No,
I just love it. I love it.
I saw they ran. It's really, I've been waiting to see Justin Fields just have like a game where he airs it out. And I wouldn't have thought that they could score 33 points and only have 147 yards passing. But man, they ran for 243 yards. Now that is like, that's an insane amount. And man, I guess if they don't need to throw the ball a lot, then they just won't, and they'll just give I mean, what did you think about that? Like, do you want to see them throwing it a little more than 143 yards passing?
I would like to see them more. I would like to see them throw it more, but I mean, I think Justin Fields is with this game, he looked like Lamar Jackson. He almost had 100 yards rushing.
His 3-yard touchdown run, it was like, oh, there's no room, and then he was in.
He just made room. Yeah, he just fucking busted right through. Like it was insane. So I could and this is what I saw over the weekend. I saw a highlight of Michael Vick just like tossing it to Deshaun Jackson back when he was on the Eagles. And then I saw him running it, and I saw something that looked so similar to that run that Justin Fields got called back against the Vikings on a touchdown run, where he ran up along the left side of the field, cut across to the middle, and ran for a touchdown. And I was like, wow, if that wasn't exactly what Justin Fields did, like that's exactly what he did. And I was like, man, if he could be a Michael Vick or even closer to a Lamar Jackson, with just a little bit more passing yards, we have the quarterback of the future. And after today's game, and I've said it a couple games prior to, like, we have our guy. It's just a matter of getting an offensive line for him and getting some more weapons around him. And he's going to be fine. The Bears are going to be fine with Justin Fields, but they just need to spruce up the offensive line and get some more wide receivers around him.
But this is the stamp. You have your guy. This is like, are you riding high? Are you riding high right now?
Dude, I'm riding Justin Fields all day, baby.
All right. That's all right.
Okay. No, I
just grown men.
I said
disgusting.
I said it last week after he got sacked like 6 times and just kept getting up. His toughness is unmatched, and he is the guy for the Bears. He is it. He's the guy. He's going to be the guy.
The Bears' identity.
I think so. He's the guy that's going to break that Ohio State University quarterback curse in the NFL. So that's what I got.
Well, I hope you're right. Just for you. I would have never thought that I may be still looking for a quarterback. So I won't get back into it. But next week, obviously,
me neither.
Big.
I really thought it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, big challenge next week. Bears going to Dallas to play the Cowboys. So we will talk about that on our next episode. But that'll kind of be that would be a statement win, right? You got a 5-2 Cowboys team. You can go on the road and beat the Patriots. Okay. You go on the road and beat the Cowboys. It's like, okay, now we're cooking with bacon grease.
Yeah. So that would be insane if they could beat the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. That would just be insane. But I would love it. I would love it.
And then look, you'd be like, it seemed like last week it was like, yeah, the Bears aren't going to do shit this year. And like, if they beat the Cowboys, bam, 2 weeks later, you're like, we could be a wild card team.
Yeah. It bears repeating. It's just a testament to this season. Like, what is going on when you have the Patriots bringing in a guy named Bailey Zappi to replace Mac Jones is doing really well. And then you have the Bears coming to Foxborough and beat the brakes off this team 33-14. Like, what is happening this year? What is happening in 2022?
Yeah, it definitely makes our job hard to give honest predictions. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see what Bears team shows up. Hopefully, for your sake, it's the same one that played tonight.
I hope so. And we talked about all the games. We recapped week 7. Let's give the people the record so far that we have this season. Our overall record, 34-20. So this week we actually did really well. We went 6-2 on the games we agreed on. Like Kyle, you got a 13-12 record on the games that you've picked opposite of me, and I'm 12-13. So we're kind of hovering above that 500 mark. But I mean, our overall
That's pretty
record so
good.
far has been pretty well. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even 12-13, that's not bad considering how weird the league's been.
True.
I've seen like the people on Monday Night Football. I've seen some of these dudes like 2-5. Yeah, some it's like these aren't easy games to pick. So yeah,
they're fucking weird. But all right, so that was the week 7 recap. Catch our week 8 predictions on Thursday. Let's get into what we were kind of sprinkling, tiptoeing about during the recap. Let's talk about our fantasy football. So like I said, for me, I picked Aaron Rodgers up because I had Josh Allen on a bye week. He got me. It's almost sad to kind of just look at this, right? Because I was 8 points away from a win, and God, Aaron Rodgers got me. Aaron Rodgers got me 15 points. So I'm not totally disappointed, but I was hoping for 20. The thing that killed me, and this is what really killed me, I put in Robert Tonyan, picked him up from the waivers, and I benched Eno Benjamin. Eno Benjamin, 23.3 points. Robert Tonyan, 6.2 points. I would have had the win. I would have already won. I'd be 5-2 right now if I didn't switch them up at the last minute on like Thursday morning or something. Those are the absolute worst. But Eno Benjamin also scored like 6 points the week prior. So I had picked him up thinking he was going to do something. And I was like, you know what? Robert Tonyan, Aaron Rodgers connect for a touchdown against the Washington Commanders team. That's an easy 20 points each. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. I lost to my brother-in-law, so that's fun.
I mean, as much as I feel for you, and it seems like at my record I shouldn't be giving advice away, but I would never flex a tight end ever.
And that's what I thought about a running back. I was looking for a wide receiver, but there was nobody good. And even if I had started Mooney, he would have only gotten me 8 points. So I didn't know what to go with there.
Yeah, I would have flexed Benjamin. I can say that in confidence because I actually did that in my other league. But we're going to talk about one league only here. And we're going to talk about the league that matters to me and the league I can't get a dub in. This is I had 120.9, so almost 121 points. I lost to a guy that had 122 points. Tom Brady just connects with Mike Evans. I win. This is a good team. This is a really good team. I have I'm just gonna do a quick thing. I got Kamara, Elliott, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Ertz, who is now the number 3 tight end in the league, and Kenneth Walker, Denver's defense, and Kansas City's kicker. I had Stevenson on the bench with 23 points, DJ Moore with 19 points. I mean, but this is just a really solid team right now. This is I have a lot of flexibility at receiver with CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, and DJ Moore. We'll see if DJ Moore can continue this, but the problem is I have a lot of leverage on offense and wide receiver. Just nobody wants to trade their quarterback.
No, not at all.
And it's silly to me because if you just add up, like even when I'm sending the proposed trades, it's like, this is a bad trade for you. And I don't even know why I'm doing it. I just feel like I need to do something different to get wins, but maybe I should just keep this loaded roster.
It's because you're in quarterback hell. That's why.
Yeah, but like, how could quarterback be so hellish when it's like the easiest position to fill, you know? And it's
a crazy season. That's why.
I've been so cursed with Tua, I had Jared Goff and he got 1 point on Sunday. Like, I don't know what to do. I wouldn't have gone with Daniel Jones, who had 28 points. I wouldn't have gone with Andy Dalton, who had 26. I wouldn't have gone with Fields, who had 23. So we'll see what I do next week. I guess I'll start Russ. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do.
I think you have to. If you I don't know what kind of like advice to give you, because I picked up Aaron Rodgers thinking, okay, this is going to be an easy like 20 points. No, it was not.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Tom Brady. I don't see like long term him getting 11 points a week. He hits that one touchdown. He threw for 300 yards. He gets one touchdown. He's got 20 points. So
True.
I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I think I could potentially win out the rest of my games if Tom Brady starts winning at a high level. I may never lose. This roster and its depth, I think, is the best in the league. So we will see. It means nothing if you don't get the dub, and I do not get the dubs at all.
I just you've got the quarterback. You're in quarterback hell, and I am in like tight end, running back one hell. Because Najee Harris has done nothing, and I'm just keep holding out hope. And a tight end, I just can't. What's his name from Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys.
Mhm.
I picked him up in like the whatever round I did in the draft, and this first few weeks he was either getting me like 6-7 points, or he was injured, he was out. So I'm like, you know what, I'm dropping this fucking guy. And I picked up Robert Tonyan. I picked up just a couple. I think at one point I had Conklin from the Jets because he had a couple good games, but that was only with Flacco. As soon as Zach Wilson came in, it's like he didn't even fucking look at Conklin. So
Yeah,
kind of screwed there. I don't know. I think I might just ride Freiermuth after I got him in a trade, and flex Benjamin until all hell breaks loose.
or you can get Zach Ertz on your team with Ezekiel Elliott.
No, look at Kyle
Josh
trying
Allen.
to trade me. I'll give you Benjamin for them too.
I got you. Such a
Dude,
cock.
he's on the up and up. What do you want?
Sell high.
Sell super high.
The hell out of here.
Oh man. Do you got anything else for today's episode?
Nope, that's all I got. Excited to go over our next predictions on Thursday and see if we got the same picks, which ones we got different, because we're getting really close. I can see this coming down to week 17, and it's getting fun.
Yeah.
It's getting really fun that we're staying so close.
I know, and hopefully our overall record is better. That's kind of really what I care about, is like what our overall record looks like. Just because it's always. I think it's just better to agree on the games and be like, oh shit, we actually called a pretty good season of games. So,
yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. If you guys want to follow us on social media, go to Instagram, follow us at Star6 Media, on YouTube as well. Search Star6 Media, TikTok, Facebook as well. And then on Twitter, you could follow me at And Now Rick. You can follow my live tweeting of the Bears games, especially after today. I'm just gonna be live tweeting all the Bears games after today. Kyle, where can they follow you on Twitter to see you just frustrated on the Broncos?
You can find me at Football Only Podcast. It's FTBLONLY podcast. You can sign my petition there that I've created. It's going through Broncos country right now. It is to bring Sean Payton in as the next head coach. I'm gonna check it in the morning, see how much steam it's built. But I got all the good people tagged in it, so. Go ahead and sign my petition. Even if you're not a Broncos fan, just please, God, please sign that petition. And yeah, see the retweets, see the in-game rants. I was ranting about some stuff that ended up actually being talked about. This was my big Twitter moment, was that I wrote something to the Broncos during the game, and Kareem Jackson, he posted a picture of the play I was talking about.
Really?
Yeah. And Kareem Jackson's our safety. So people hear you, people see you. Even though you can't see them seeing you, you just got to believe.
Kyle's like, that was my tweet. He loves me. Oh man. But other than that, man, another great episode. Remember to go check out all the other Star6 Media podcasts, 3 Up, 3 Down, EAFP, JCA, Big League Chicago, Sports Strip Live. Go check it out. It's all good. And check out the YouTube to see our beautiful faces and our sick ass and Kyle's sick ass background of a brick wall.
Brick by brick. That's how we get the job done. Brick by brick. That's how we get
the job done. All right, man. Well, I'll see you next time.
All right, buddy. See you.
See you.